The Pilgrims were a group of Protestants who wanted to separate from the Church of England.
Solid response. True is a valid choice.
Where were the statues of Buddha made?
Good thinking. Mathura and Taxila is the right answer. The chiefs of the South India collected taxes and distributed to poets who came to palace to sing poems in praise of the kings.
Smart pick. False is the correct choice.
Where did the Roman find gold?
Clear logic. Your choice South India is sound and 100% true. The dash, glossy colors of silk, as well as its smooth texture, make it a highly valued fabric in most societies.
On track. Rich is the correct answer.
Full form of member. Excellent choice. Northern black polished ware is the right answer.
Question 12. Men and women who undertook journey to the holy places in order to offer worship are called.
Bravo.
Pilgrims is the answer. About 2,000 years ago, wearing dash became the fashion amongst rulers and rich people in Rome.
Great job. Silk is the accurate answer.
Only rich, belonging to the so-called high castes, man could follow the path of bhakti.
Right again. False is a valid answer.
Vishnu took the shape of a dash in order to rescue the earth that had sunk into water.
You chose boar, and it is correct. Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas became powerful in South India around how many years ago? Nice selection. 2300 is the correct and valid answer. Around 200 years later, a dynasty known as the Satavahanas became powerful in Dash. Great thinking. Eastern India is the right choice. True or false amongst the river valleys? That of the Kaveri is the most fertile. Well done. True is the right choice.
The word Hindu, like the term India, is derived from the river valley Indus.
Strong choice. True is the right answer. Techniques of making silk were first invented in China around dash years ago. Right choice. 10,000 is the best answer. What did traders carried in ships, across the sea, and in caravans to Rome?
Excellent. All of the above is a brilliant choice.
Bhakti is present in the Bhagavad Gita, a sacred book of the Hindus.
Well picked. True is the correct answer.
Dash emphasized devotion and individual worship of god or goddess.
Nice work. You chose Bhakti, and it is correct. The best known rulers who controlled the Silk Route were the Dash.
Smart move. Kushness is an accurate answer.
About how many years ago did wearing silk become fashion in Rome?
Sharp thinking. 2000 is the right choice. Dash were supposed to be persons who had attained enlightenment. You're right. Bodhisattvas is the correct answer.
Movender is a Sanskrit word which means 3 ruling families.
Nicely done. False is a solid answer.
Question 9. To whom did the Chinese rulers send gifts of silk? Correct. Beeth rulers of Iraq is the right answer.
Who were the best-known rulers who controlled the Silk Route?
Exactly. Kushnas makes sense and it is right choice. The famous Kushana ruler, Dash, organized a Buddhist council. Valid point. Kanishka is true.
Question 7. Who was the most powerful ruler of Satavahanas?
You got it? Your choice Gautamiputra Sri Satkani is right. How many years ago did the most famous Kushana ruler ruled? Perfect. None is the correct choice.
Bhakti inspired some of the best expressions in art like.
Good job. Your answer all of these works well here.
How long ago did Fuxian come to the Indian subcontinent? Well reasoned, 1600 is the correct choice. Who became powerful in South India around 2300 years ago? Correct response. Cholas, Cheras, and Pandyas is the most accurate answer.
Each of the 3 chiefs had how many centers of power?
You got it. Your choice 2 is right. Which of the deities is not worshipped through Bhakti? On track. Janisa is the correct answer. What did the 3 chiefs collected for their people? Strong choice. Gifts is the right answer. Who invented the ways and techniques of making silk?
You're right. Chinese is the correct answer.
Buddhism also spread to western and southern India. Smart pick. True is the correct choice.
Question 10. Which tree was shown in the sculptures?
Smart move. People is an accurate answer. Question 14. From where did the term India derive?
Solid response. River Indus is a valid choice.
Who was the most important rule of the Satavahana? Excellent. Gautami Sri Satkani is a brilliant choice. Question 1. For what was the South India famous for? Great thinking. All of these is the right choice. Who were the 3 ruling families of South India? Correct response. Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas is the most accurate answer. Question 11. Where were the statues of Buddha made? Well picked. Mathura and Taxila is the correct answer. Muvender is a Sanskrit word meaning 3 chiefs. Nice work. You chose false and it is correct. Mahayana Buddhism is the older form of Buddhism. Good thinking. False is the right answer. Where are many Roman gold coins have been found? Good job. Your answer South India works well here. What was the route leading to the south called? Correct. Dakshinapath is the right answer. The 2 main centers of power of Kushanas were. You chose Peshawar and Mathura, and it is correct. 2 major centers of power 2000 years ago are. Right again. Mathura and Peshawar is a valid answer. Who ruled over Kerala and parts of Tamil Nadu? Great job, Cheras is the accurate answer. Pepper was known as black gold in Dash Empire.
Bravo. Roman is the answer.
Mahayana Buddhism had many distinct features. Perfect. False is the correct choice. When did Xuanzang came to the subcontinent? Well done. Around 1400 years ago is the right choice. Question 4. Who controlled the river valleys? Nicely done. Chiefs and kings is a solid answer.
What was black pepper known in Roman Empire?
Right choice. Black gold is the best answer.
About how many years ago did Kanishka rule?
Nice selection. 1900 is the correct and valid answer.
Satavahana rulers were known as lords of the.
Well reasoned. Dakshinapatha is the correct choice.
Some kings tried to control the Silk Route. Sharp thinking. True is the right choice.
Question 2. Where did the Romans find gold?
Excellent choice. South India is the right answer. Satavahanas became powerful in Dasha, India. Clear logic. Your choice west is sound and 100% true.
Who was the most famous Kushana ruler was?
Exactly. Kanishka makes sense and it is right choice. The word India is derived from the dash. Valid point. River Indus is true. Who were the powerful kings of the south?
Nice selection. All of the above is the correct and valid answer.
In which empire is pepper most valued? Strong choice. Roman Empire is the right answer. Dash composed a biography of the Buddha. Excellent. Ashwagosha is a brilliant choice. Where is the headless statue of Kanishka? You chose Mathura Museum, and it is correct. Who were known as Lord of Dakshinapatha?
Well done. Gautamiputra Sri Satkarni is the right choice.
Silk was invented around Dasha years ago. Great thinking. 7,000s is the right choice. Statues of the Buddha were made in Dash. You're right. Mathura and Taxila is the correct answer. Pahar was an important port on the Dash. Solid response. East Coast is a valid choice. Which river valley is the most fertile? Good job. Your answer, Kaveri River Valley, works well here. Who took the avatar of Varaha or boar? Valid point. Lord Vishnu is true. The most famous Kushana ruler was Dash.
Smart move. Kanishka is an accurate answer.
Bhagavat, which is often translated to
Exactly. God makes sense and it is right choice.
Who took avatar of Varaha?
Sharp thinking. Lord Vishnu is the right choice.
Who was the greatest ruler of Kushanas? Right choice. Kanishka is the best answer. Pahar or Kaveripadanam is the port of. Good thinking. Chalas is the right answer. Buddhism also spread southeastwards, too. Right again. Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand is a valid answer. Roman traded their goods in return of. On track. Roman gold coins is the correct answer. Traders carried goods to Rome through. Well picked. Caravans is the correct answer. Who was the most famous Parthian king? You got it. Your choice, Gondophanes, is right. The new form of Buddhism was known as. Correct. Mahayana is the right answer. In which country was silk discovered? Smart pick. China is the correct choice. In which places did Buddhism spread?
Nice work. You chose all of these, and it is correct.
Who was the last ruler of Satavahanas?
Bravo. Yajna Shri Satkarni is the answer.
Movender refers to 3 chiefs dash. Perfect. Cholas Cheras Pandyas is the correct choice. The most important Satavahana ruler. Excellent choice. Gautamiputra Sri Satkani is the right answer. What is the Sanskrit word budge mean?
Clear logic. Your choice to divide or share is sound and 100% true.
The capital of the Pandyas was dash. Correct response. Madurai is the most accurate answer. The traders took advantage of what? Well reasoned. Monsoon winds is the correct choice.
The most famous Buddhist monastery.
Nicely done. Nalanda is a solid answer.
Kanishka is a famous ruler of Dash.
Great job. Vision is the accurate answer.
What was the less Chinese pilgrim?
Nice selection. Aitzing is the correct and valid answer.
What was the old form of Buddhism?
Correct. Theravada Buddhism is the right answer.
Who wrote the biography of Buddha?
Good thinking. Ashwagosha is the right answer.
Who composed biography of Buddha? Excellent. Ashwagosha is a brilliant choice.
Who were the first to invent silk? Smart move. Chinese is an accurate answer.
Silk material was not expensive.
You got it. Your choice false is right.
Which is called the black gold. Nice work. You chose pepper and it is correct. What is the other name of God? Strong choice. Diet is the right answer. The word Hindu is derived from. Excellent choice. River Indus is the right answer. Chiefs collected regular taxes. Great job. False is the accurate answer. Silk was first invented in Dash.
You're right. China is the correct answer.
What means divide or share? You chose sending, and it is correct. Thanjavur was the Dash town. Well reasoned. Temple is the correct choice. All capitals are examples of. Valid point. Administrative town is true. A new form of Buddhism Dash.
Sharp thinking. Mahayana is the right choice.
What is this Bhagavad Gita? Right again. A sacred Hindu book is a valid answer. South India was famous for. On track. Gold is the correct answer. How traders travel through.
Bravo! Both 1 and 2 is the answer.
Where did the Colossus rule? Right choice. Sri Lanka is the best answer. What does Muvender mean? Good job. Your answer, 3 chiefs, works well here. Where is Kar located? Well done. Maharashtra is the right choice. The word Sangam means.
Smart pick. Assembly is the correct choice.
Who invented silk? Correct response. China is the most accurate answer. Banjaras. Perfect. Traders is the correct choice. how you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format. Great thinking. Contact Narayan Chengder on Facebook is the right choice.